The end of JobKeeper layoffs. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this article discussing the end of JobKeeper and, well, unfair layoffs that are happening, and also some employers incurring additional costs. Now, I warned about this quite some time ago when we were discussing the rollout of JobKeeper. I was worried that some employers would keep people on to help out their staff to get them JobKeeper, but then would have to get rid of them straight away when it disappeared, and would have other costs that they may not have any money to pay. It may have been sensible to just let them go straight away, but of course the government doesn't want that burden on their Centrelink, or they don't want to see that unemployment rate going too high. It's all a bit of political theatre, isn't it? Now, before we get into this, let's have a look at the sponsorship for this video, which is Freedom Friday, a Twitch show that we have on Friday night, a call-in show. Check it out only on Twitch. Now, let's have a look at how the government came to the rescue. They allowed businesses to trade while insolvent, and that scared me more than anything. As someone who's had to chase people up for money, who's been, everyone in business has been stiffed by a client. Either someone that's just dragged out payment, refused payment, or forced you to take them to court, or even done the dodgy on you a few times. So that's why it's frustrating when they change these rules. When you can't go someone, where you can't, well, at least go to ASIC to have someone deregistered as a director because they're doing the dodge. This is why I've got no confidence in these government organizations that take all our money. But you can see here, companies entering external administration are about half of where they should be during normal times. And remember, everyone, we're in our first recession of 28 years. JobKeeper, at nearly 9% of the Victorian workforce, was being supported by it at a time. So a lot of businesses, and I know all these people are going, look at how much these universities made so much profit and got all this JobKeeper, or this business made this profit and got all this JobKeeper. What do you expect with a government program handing out money left, right, and center? Of course, it's going to be stupid and wasteful. We can see here the hundreds of thousands of people that were getting it and the percentage of those employed, 8.76% in Victoria. And if you add this to the percentage of civil servants, it's quite disturbing how many people are pretty much beholden to the government. We have a look at the unemployment rate. It's sitting at 5.1%. We've had quite a crash since that peak. And this is all about reducing, in many ways, the burden on the government system. But if we look at the Roy Morgan numbers, they're a little bit different. They're saying we're sitting at 9.4% unemployment, while underemployment is at 8.5%. So this is the combined under and underemployment. Now, Roy Morgan used a different methodology to the ABS, but generally you want them to align to, the trending in the same direction. So let's have a look at this article, which is discussing the end of JobKeeper, and see, how the ABC, what their take on this is. JobKeeper end sparks rush of dubious layoffs and pay cuts, Employment Law Centre warns. Well, this is the thing. You probably should have fired these people before all of this stuff. I wonder how many businesses have gone on too long. This is a recession, everyone. Not everyone survives. You need some creative destruction in a free market to create opportunities for other businesses and people. So it has been 3 months since the JobKeeper wage subsidy program ended, and problems are emerging for some workers who initially kept their jobs thanks to the scheme. Some have now lost their jobs, while others have had hours, pay, or conditions cut, in many cases unlawfully. One employment law centre has seen a dramatic influx of calls for help from employees chasing entitlements. Now, I'm not surprised, because the JobKeeper wasn't enough to cover all the entitlements. The business may not have it. You're gonna see some small businesses going under, people losing their homes because they were trying to do the nice thing and kept people on too long. You've got to be hardened in business. Sadly, you've got to be a bit tough. That's how it is. It probably would have been smarter for some of these people just to cut their losses. Queenslander Basil Tsvetkov was amongst them, unimpressed with how his employer handled the wind-up of JobKeeper in March. I didn't get a call or an email or anything. It was just the final memo or staff update letter that came through, he told the ABC's AM program. Well, you were getting free money from the government. I don't understand. What do people expect? You should be lucky you haven't been fired and disappointed. Well, maybe the business isn't doing too well, or maybe you're the problem. From there, I found out that if you have not been contacted to come back to work, you will be stood down without payment at the end of the JobKeeper program. Well, yes, this is what happens in a recession. People lose their jobs. I know it sucks. I know it's not fair, but there you go. So he'd worked for the exhibition services firm Exponet for 13 years. So what? This is the thing. People expect loyalty from these businesses. You're not going to get them, everyone. That's an old concept, I think. That's an old boomer concept. So people will get frustrated at these young people who are quitting jobs or who don't want to work for these big corporations. I watch a lot of Joshua Flukes, who just tears apart all this corporate cringe that you see on LinkedIn. And, I mean, this is the thing. I've seen it. I remember meeting lecturers who had sacrificed all their women, female lecturers, had sacrificed their most fertile years just working away at these big architectural practices. And, now they were middle-aged and couldn't have kids. For what? So some big firm can make more money. So you can take part in the design of a building and no one will remember you for it. So Exponet told the ABC the letter encouraged staff to contact the company if they had questions about their ongoing employment. But based on the memo, he thought he was out of work, so he went looking for another job. When he later contacted Exponet to ask for his accumulated leave entitlements to be paid out, the company advised him he would need to resign first. Well, that seems like a communication issue there. I mean, why wouldn't you ring him up? Seeking a redundancy payment. Friends advised him that as a permanent employee, he should be entitled to a redundancy payment if Exponet no longer needed his services. He said when he raised the issue of redundancy with Exponet in mid-April, the company decided it needed his services and called him back to work, knowing he had already taken other employment. See, this is the whole thing. I've got issues with the whole idea of redundancy, to be quite honest. Yeah. Well, then again, I'm a small business owner. These are all perks that we don't get. This is the privileged few. Having started another job in March, he said he could not comply with the Exponet's written return to work demand issued in May, and again later that month. They formally terminated his employment. If they called me a month earlier or 2 months, I would have gone back, but I'd taken action. I had to take whatever I got given, and luckily I had this offer, he explained. So it sounds like they're not people you want to work for anyway, mate. I mean, why are you complaining? Exponent has now paid his leave. Yeah, but it's denied him a redundancy payment because it claims his job still exists. Well, maybe it still does. Maybe it still does. They didn't make him redundant. It also has a slightly different take on the events and the communications leading to his dismissal. I bet they do. I really bet they do. His permanent role was available 2 weeks after JobKeeper ended. However, he decided not to return. Why wouldn't you ring them up? Why would you be waiting for a bloody letter if you want a job? Is it because he's enjoying his time off? Which, you can't blame him. Honestly, you cannot blame him. So, this is the problem with redundancy leave. It'd be better if you just get paid. It was only on the 4th of May, 2021, in a telephone conversation that he stated he did not want to resign, although he stated that it is what he wanted to do, that he wanted to be made redundant. Yeah, it could be he just wanted more money. So, he had not told Exponet that he wished to resign in April 2021. He would have been asked to return to work earlier. JobWatch sees an influx of calls for help. See, look at all the complexity to this whole process, all the BS you got to deal with. Is it any wonder businesses don't want to hire Australians? Is it any wonder businesses want to offshore work or automate? So, and this is why you've got the unions and all the groups pushing, in cahoots with big business, pushing for these regulations and these complexities to destroy opportunities and destroy the middle class. They want everyone to be a worker of a big corporate. Then you're a much more compliant little citizen. Can't be having that free thinking there. Eat your, live in your pod, eat your ground up pea protein and be happy. So he sought help of Community Legal Center JobWatch. Its executive director, Zayn, by the way, told AM that JobWatch had seen an influx of callers like him. We're getting far too many calls to JobWatch telling us that they've been stood down from their work, even post JobKeeper, or that they're working on reduced hours, she said. Yes, it's called a recession. It's called, not everyone works for the ABC and has a fake job backed up by government money, with taxes forcefully taken at the threat of arrest from the citizenry. Some have had their salary cut from their contracted salary, and of course there's termination of employment. Often people are forced to resign, and often without redundancy. Another who sought JobWatch's advice, who we will call John, worked for Jurgens Caravans and had a factory which had a factory out of Melbourne. He was on JobKeeper while the factory was closed down during last year's lockdown. They reopened briefly from December before being locked out by its landlord in February for missing rent during the shutdown. John said he again received JobKeeper until the scheme ended, followed by some random part payments, but could not get in touch with his boss. They kept paying the half payment, and then they started missing payments along the way, and now, since I've gotten notice and I've started a new job, they've stopped paying me altogether, even during my notice period, he told AM. Yeah, well, if they can't pay rent, they're probably going under, mate. You're lucky you got anything. Seriously, well, what do people expect? Come on. He claimed the shortfall in what he should have been paid is about $6,000. Plus, he claimed he's owed other entitlements, some going back years. Well, this is the problem. This is the whole issue with entitlements, guys, because you're putting it in the hands of another party to manage for you, because we're all too, we need paternalistic businesses to take care of us. At least that's how it feels as a business owner from the government. They really treat you like the parent of your staff. They're too dumb to pay their own taxes. They're too dumb to pay their own super. They're too dumb to put money aside for sick leave. You've got to take care of all of that for them. You're their parent. Yeah, fantastic, isn't it? Unless you've employed people, you don't get it. So, and I'm not saying that people actually are too dumb. I'm saying that's how our political class and bureaucratic class and the unions all see us. He told the ABC that included around 140 hours of annual leave. Well, why did you let it rack up so much, mate? You need to get it paid out every year. That's the problem. Although he said that subsequently paid out part, but not all, of what he claimed to be owed. Okay, so they're doing their best. Also, my super. Here we go. I'm not surprised with this one. They haven't paid super for quite some time as well, he added. This is the thing. This is why employees should have to pay their own super. Because then you don't have that risk. Just send all the money to your bank account, and then you're forced, if you don't do it, put you in jail, you have to transfer your money to your super fund every week, every paycheck. What's that? People won't do it. People will complain. No. The people will realize where their money is actually going for the first time. Maybe that'll change the way they vote. That's probably why they don't want that. I know people who've worked for years for somewhere who didn't get super. Just wasn't paid. Like John, the ABC has been unable to contact them. But the Fair Work Ombudsman has confirmed it's looking into the company. I feel sorry for the businesses. They probably should have fired these people a lot earlier, but they probably thought it could keep going. This is the problem with JobKeeper. It doesn't cover the super payments, doesn't cover anything else. Information on employee rights. Miss, by the way, is that really your name? Said it was vital that workers know their rights. Post JobKeeper, they have a right to be reinstated to work. That's number one. They also have the right to retain their pre-pandemic terms of contract. A spokesperson for the FWO told the ABC there were very limited grounds on which an employer could stand down its workers, mainly relevant during lockdowns. The FWO also had information about when a redundancy should be paid. It said employees who feel they have been unfairly dismissed or forced to resign instead of being made redundant should contact the Fair Work Commission as soon as possible. While he waits to be paid what he's owed, John is glad to have found another job. I was lucky enough to find a job which pays quite well, which is all right, so we'll be starting to catch up on the bills now. See, that's good. That's a good ending to the story. Maybe, mate, you should become a contractor with this new employer so that you can handle all this money yourself and then not get your leave paid out every year and then take unpaid holiday. Just think outside the box, because then you won't be in the same mess. You don't trust these people to manage on your behalf. But then the ATL will go, if you're working for one place too much. It's too paternalistic. It is just fundamentally too paternalistic. So, what's the solution to this? Well, is anyone surprised? I'm not surprised at all. And don't forget the huge amount of government debt that has been incurred to pay for all of this gravy train, everyone. And remember, it's the ABC. They're just attacking the businesses. What do you reckon? As always, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one in the comments down below. If you're a fan of the channel and enjoy the content I create, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can sign up for SelfWealth or Stake. Use our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. You can buy a merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.